The awkward day after. Maybe you had too much to drink at the office Christmas party, and stuff happened with your coworker, or the copy machine, or both. The next day, back at work, it's awkward, right? Well, no matter what you've ever done the night before, you don't know awkward office days like Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich does. Yesterday, cold busted in handcuffs. The transcripts of his wiretapped phone calls teaching all of America new creative ways to use the F word, the Cubs, and the word appreciation, all in the same idea. Today, Governor Blagojevich was back at the office. Hey, everybody, how's it going? Bulls beat the Knicks, huh? Also an awkward day today for whoever was aliased as Senate Candidate Number 5 in the criminal complaint against Blagojevich. Candidate Number 5 was the one who allegedly had an emissary discuss raising somewhere between $500,000 and $1.5 million for Blagojevich in exchange for the Senate seat. Law enforcement sources say now that Senate Candidate Number 5 was Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr., who today vociferously denied that he had offered or had anyone offer anything for that seat.
I want to make this fact plain. I reject and denounce pay-to-play politics and have no involvement whatsoever in any wrongdoing. I did not initiate or authorize anyone at any time to promise anything to Governor Blagojevich on my behalf. I never sent a message or an emissary to the governor to make an offer, to plead my case, or to propose a deal about a U.S. Senate seat, period.
Period. Congressman Jackson has joined President-elect Obama, several state legislators in Illinois, all 50 current Democratic senators, and the Chicago Tribune, among others, in calling for Rod Blagojevich to resign his governorship. President-elect Obama also endorsed a move initiated by Senator Dick Durbin to order a special election to fill the Senate seat, rather than leaving it to Governor Shakedown or whoever might replace him. Now, all the available evidence, and there is a lot of it that has been presented by Patrick Fitzgerald, shows Obama and his team coming off as well as one can when one is mentioned in a criminal complaint against a sitting governor. According to Fitzgerald's investigation, Team Obama rejected pay-to-play politics and all other manner of Blagojevich's proposed shenanigans. How do we know this? Well, on one recording, Blagojevich appears to call the president-elect a very, very bad name, initials MF. And he says of the Obama camp, quote, "They are not willing to give me anything but appreciation. Bleep them!" Frankly, that is exactly what you want the guy in handcuffs to be on record saying about you on his wiretap at a time like this. U.S. Attorney Patrick Fitzgerald also went out of his way to say in his news conference, quote, "We make no allegations that he, Obama, was aware of anything." More suggestion that Obama and Blagojevich were decidedly not in cahoots? Well, the New York Times reports today that Obama's call for passage of an ethics bill in the Illinois state legislature a few months ago contributed to the downfall of the governor. Among the allegations against him are that he was trying to grab as many unlimited campaign contributions as he could before the limits kicked in because of that new Obama-supported law on January 1st. There's also that report from a local Chicago news station that Obama's chief of staff, Rahm Emanuel, tipped the feds off to Blagojevich's wrongdoing. Still, Republicans are busy trying to link Obama to the scandal, trying to fold him into Blagojevich's ethical quicksand. In a joint interview with the LA Times and the Chicago Tribune, President-elect Obama said, quote, "I have not discussed the Senate seat with the governor at any time." Now, a report by a local station in Quincy, Illinois from November 5th claimed that Obama was planning to meet with Governor Blagojevich that afternoon to talk about the Senate seat. That report has since been removed from the station's website. And when we contacted the station today to ask them why, they said they took it down because they actually have no idea if that meeting took place. Nevertheless, the GOP is using that and other things and swinging at the president-elect. RNC Chairman Mike Duncan called Obama's statement unacceptable and suggested it was, quote, "carefully parsed and vague." South Carolina Republican Party chairman also called on Obama to immediately release all records of discussions about the appointment of Obama's successor. That's Keaton Dawson, the South Carolina Republican chairman. The new GOP House Whip, Congressman Eric Cantor, suggested the investigation of Blagojevich, quote, "raises questions about Obama." The conservative website Powerline said, quote, Obama has been a loyal soldier in the Democrats' corrupt Cook County machine. And a Newsmax headline, Newsmax is another conservative website, they headlined an article, Blagojevich Scandal, What Did Obama Know and When Did He Know It? Meanwhile, the Illinois State Republican chairman, Andy McKenna, even called on Obama to keep U.S. Attorney Patrick Fitzgerald in his job, even though Obama already called for that months ago. It may still turn out that Barack Obama is somehow knee-deep in the proverbial Blagojevich here. But at this point, based on what we know about this story, it seems that the GOP is screaming four-alarm fire about one extinguished matchstick. Does Barack Obama, whose approval rating of his transition in tonight's NBC News Wall Street Journal poll is 73%, does he have something to worry about here? Joining us now is New York Times columnist Frank Rich. Hi, Mr. Rich. Thanks for being here.
Glad to be here. How are you?
I noticed you laughing out loud at some of the transcripts. Still funny a day later, isn't it?
It's still funny. It's going to be the gift that keeps on giving, I think, for quite a while, unless something else happens to disrupt it. But the attempts to link Obama to it are almost as laughable as the transcripts themselves.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick Fitzgerald went out of his way to say overtly Barack Obama is not implicated in this case. We haven't seen any evidence that he is. But Republicans want to, for obvious reasons, they want to tie Blagojevich to Obama like an anchor.
Right, but it won't work. First of all, they have a president who's sitting in the White House who the NBC poll tonight found 79% of Americans won't miss him when he's gone, so it's a way to change the subject from that. Their last standard bearer, McCain, was insulted by Joe the plumber this week. He said he was appalled by him and embarrassed by him. So this is something to change the subject, but I don't think it's going to work. It's definitely not going to work.
Well, Blagojevich himself, obviously innocent until proven guilty. This
Absolutely.
is all alleged at this point.
Yes, absolutely.
But honestly, nobody is standing by him. Nobody's saying, I'm with Rod on this one. We think. I don't know. I haven't heard from her directly.
Yeah, we can see the videotape, yeah.
Do you think this is sort of a nonpartisan accountability moment? Nobody is standing up and saying, this is a witch hunt. Blagojevich ought to be left alone here, and we think he's a good guy. Is that a good sign just in terms of American political accountability?
Yeah, I think it is a good sign. And by the way, the same thing happened with the last Illinois governor, George Ryan, who was a Republican. Again, it was a bipartisan feeling that he should go, and in fact he's now in jail. So I think it is a good thing, and I think that also Fitzgerald gives it a tremendous amount of credibility because he's not known as a partisan guy, and his last most famous target was, after all, a member of the Bush White House team.
Sure. I guess I'm asking about accountability because I've been thinking about it in broader terms in the last couple of weeks as it has emerged that President Bush is going to spend the waning days of his presidency really polishing up his legacy. He went back to West Point yesterday, where he first articulated the Bush doctrine of preventive war and started arguing for the war in Iraq all over again like it was 2002. To me, it feels like a heck of a contrast, to see someone get nailed so publicly for this type of corruption, while the giant swindle that was the Iraq war is still an applause line for this president.
Well, I completely agree with you. In fact, I think accountability and the lack of it is an enormous issue of this entire decade, and not just in the Iraq war, but on Wall Street. And so it's sort of good to see someone in public office held accountable, but the truth is, compared to the things that people have not been held accountable for, what he's accused of is relatively minor. It's not good, and it's bad for the people of Illinois, but it's a small sucker, really, but compared to the big stuff that's going on in the past 10 years.
One last quick question. Is everyone who was ever considered a possible candidate for this Senate seat now, are they now guilty by association? Is Patrick Fitzgerald the only person who could be appointed to that Senate seat?
And possibly Andrew Cuomo if he doesn't get it in New York.
Right,
no, You're right. I do feel the guilt by association, which has been a big feature of this political year, is going too far. And Jesse Jackson may have been tarred unfairly, probably was, based on what we know, or at least based on his denial. Sure. And who's going to take? The Republican Party's going to have to bring back Alan Keyes, ship him back.
Oh, please.
Yes.
Oh, please. That would make my job a lot more fun. Frank Rich, New York Times columnist, very nice to see you. Thanks for being here.
Nice to see you.